Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, popular cryptocurrency analysts believe that Bitcoin's price is headed towards $7,200 based on an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Interestingly, if Bitcoin is indeed trading within the inverse head and shoulders, the breakout could hand Bitcoin a target of 16,000 US dollars. The inverse head and shoulders technical pattern is identified when the price of an asset firstly drops to a certain level, rises back up, dives lower than the previous bottom, increases again, and finally falls, but not as much as the second time. Wonderful. The pattern plays out once the asset's price breaks the neckline. In this case, the neckline is as low as is at 10,000 US dollars, whereas the shoulders lie around 7,200 and the head is at $3,800, according to the popular cryptocurrency analyst Satoshi Flipper. Bitcoin's price developments for the past several months have been charting such inverse head and shoulders. Of course, things can change as they usually do, and the pattern can invalidate, which of course also ends up happening a lot. The bearish scenario is if Bitcoin breaks down the shoulders line at 7,200 and or not breaking above the neck line, which is the massive resistance at 10,000 US dollars. And there's a little pretty chart right there. Through this week, and we are not even that far into this week yet, you may have noticed a pattern that I told you was also forming around Sunday. It's the negativity surrounding Bitcoin's price and the if, ands, or ors of what could potentially be taking place next. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin appears weak around the current level. Bitcoin could soon slip to $8,200. My favorite part of this article is the decentralized currency might be in trouble. By whose metrics? Who knows? Bitcoin doesn't appear to be in any actual trouble, but of course, fear sells. Bitcoin price analysis, Bitcoin eyeing downside thrust before reversal. Bitcoin plunge to 8,200 seems likely as technical indicators turn red. Bitcoin price caught between key support levels as bearish sentiment grows. I don't know if any of you have turned bearish. I assume this is a blanket statement for everyone in the world that seemingly at the exact same time we've all turned bearish on Bitcoin because of about 4 days of price decline. It says, would Bitcoin's price drop to the $7,000 low? And this one says, here's why Bitcoin could see a bloodbath decline to the $5,000 region. The word bloodbath, of course, being my favorite, because whenever Bitcoin drops by $1,000, articles are using that word a bit more loosely than they previously did before. I always tell you, not even depending on where I look, just in general within the cryptocurrency space, there's always article trends. As far as 1 week, we'll get tons of stuff that Bitcoin's doing exceedingly well. The metrics are all there. Everything's fine. Can Bitcoin hit 16,000? And then for some reason about Saturday evening, every other week, we tend to get the news that Bitcoin's not looking too well. Why did the Bitcoin price drop? Is Bitcoin going to go lower? How much lower will it go? Will it revisit the 7,000s? Will it revisit the 5? It's this constant trend. I'm going to see if this holds true by the time we hit around Saturday evening to see if we're once again getting indications that apparently Bitcoin has broken out of another golden pass croissant, whatever people are calling these things nowadays, to see if, during that week, Bitcoin looks like it's going to move a lot higher. The sarcasm will remain because, once again, no one knows what's going to happen to Bitcoin's price or any of the other cryptocurrency prices, because we're always thrown a curveball. Every single other week, there's always something new that comes out and we're told that this is what happened, and it usually ends up being that whales were simply playing around in the waters. We're trying to lower the price down so that they could accumulate more. And then the prices go higher because, supply and demand never really faded. And then the richer get richerer. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin price news. if you will. And I made sure to omit at least 8 other articles saying the exact same thing. It was more like a when I tell you that there's like certain news that's kind of everywhere on every single different website, and they all kind of say the exact same thing but in a different way. There you go. Apparently, for some reason, Bitcoin is very bearish right now. I guess the blockchain stopped working. No one's using it. We haven't gotten news at all about it. The 1 billion plus people in India who now have proper access to crypto. I mean, when all of that happens, hopefully Bitcoin will do well. It's not like we didn't receive all that news yesterday. Sarcasm. Anyway, that's that. Let's move on. Also in this trend as well, you might have noticed, usually in the news, when Bitcoin does terribly, air quotes, Ethereum does extremely well, air quotes, and also vice versa. On Tuesday, the 26th of May, crypto-focused research boutique BlockFire explained why its analysts believe that Ethereum is significantly undervalued at current prices, and there's a little chart just showing you that we're talking about Ether. BlockFire says its analysis is focused on the following 4 progress indicators for Ethereum. Development activity, there's a chart right there. Gas being used, activity on the Ethereum network keeps growing. Mean dollar invested age, investors like holding. Why is hold in bold? Investors like holding Ethereum, and miners balance. Miners like hodling Ethereum too. Sure. The chart of the 4 progress indicators against the change in price of Ethereum over time leads BlockFire to conclude that although the price of Ethereum has gone down a lot, since its all-time high, I mean, to be fair, everything has gone down a lot since January 2018, and Ethereum has been trading sideways since the end of 2018. These indicators paint a promising outlook for the Ethereum network and the Ether cryptocurrency. There were a couple of other articles that also made sure to mention they didn't use this metric as to if Ethereum should potentially be doing better in price over the next couple of months. It was more of a, this company has been buying up Ethereum, this company has been doing this, and they are doing this with Ethereum, and Ethereum has partnered with this, and therefore Ether is heavily undervalued. I assume either next week or the week after, we will pay attention to the actual trends as well. I assume next week, if not the week after, once again, we are going to get news that Bitcoin is performing exceedingly well, and that Ethereum, I'm seeing an article saying Ethereum is overbought, or will be looking to retest $90 that week. It seems very likely that that's going to happen in the future. Anyway, this seems to be Ethereum optimism week. There's no real reason that many of the coin should not have an optimistic outlook, especially even if you just focus on Bitcoin and Ether, which are constantly in the news the last couple of months. Nothing has really changed for Ether either. We know that there will be big changes whenever they do finally execute, initiate, start, activate, press the red button for Ethereum 2.0. When the issuance rate drops to, 10% of what it currently is, and the more it gets locked up, of course, this is a very bullish thing to happen. However, I think a lot of the cryptocurrencies are currently, there's about 5 of them, rough 5, that are undervalued. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's the Ethereum news. And yeah, let's move on. Next up, where are the words? Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has once again called on the United States regulators to step up and lean into digital currencies as the nation is falling behind China in terms of crypto innovation. I dare even argue that they're falling behind many other places as well. When you have a 0% tax rate and you are favorable in general to cryptocurrency, you have already fallen behind. Notably, China has continued with the development of its CBDC to the extent of conducting real-world pilot tests on the CBDC. As Xi Crypto, okay, previously reported, oh, that's the website. I was like, who's Xi Crypto? Previously reported, these trials will involve McDonald's, Subway, Starbucks, and will be carried out in 4 of China's major cities. The USA, on the other hand, I just had tea. This is so ridiculous. The USA, better, on the other hand, has not given clear guidelines regarding crypto regulation so far, and has also put aside the development of a digital dollar. This goes to show that China is light years ahead of the US in development of, I wouldn't go that far. I'd say about a good year and a half. I wouldn't say light years. Garlinghouse warns that this complacency will only set the US back, while China gets all the glory. As the trade tensions between the US and China reach fever pitch, Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse is urging US regulators to look to digital currencies. In a 2-part Twitter thread on the 26th of May, Garlinghouse shared an article entitled, "Could China's digital currency unseat the dollar? In recent months, China has accelerated its work on the yada yada yada, jop. Cool. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to really say. Part of my, I wonder what happens behind the scenes. One has to assume Mr. Garlinghouse has been very for regulations and structure around the cryptocurrency space, and I feel that these tweets, as they were, are probably vented frustration about everything that's going on. Because, like I said, and it's funny how, once again, how the internet and time works. I mentioned this about 2 days ago. I'm like, you know, there's falling behind, and then there's not even crawling as other people are running. That's not to say that there might not be something behind the scenes in the woodworks that's being created and or developed as far as a structural framework for how cryptocurrencies will be treated within the United States. But you know, I find it myself interesting when Brad Garlinghouse has to come out and he's like, come on. Anyway, yeah, that's that news. This was all over the place as well. I once again assume it has to do with the first, I don't assume this is going to happen anytime soon. I'm still giving a 2022 to a 2025 time frame as to when the US will actually release, and I mean like the bare bones minimum structure or for what's going to happen with crypto. Many other companies have left the States. I assume they're not going to be going back to the States anytime soon. I feel like the people from Ripple, not that they're stuck in the States. I don't know how to really explain it. Like they've opened up offices around the world, but I feel like their main target has been the US when it comes to all of this. But I don't think, I mean, anyway, yeah. So we know that they've fallen behind. They're going to continue falling behind. I just don't feel like it's a priority for the States at the moment to really give cryptocurrency regulations, especially with everything going on. They should have many other priorities. Anyway, kudos to all the other countries who got it together before the beginning of this year. And I tip my hat to you, India, for, you know. Anyway, that's that news. Let's move on. Next up, Ukraine is getting closer to providing a legal status for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin with a new draft bill published on Monday. On the 18th of May, the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, published a new draft bill on virtual assets that aims to determine the legal status of crypto assets, rule of their circulation, and issuance in the country. Oh, that's going to be so much fun. The current version of the bill is not final. Of course not. Why would it be? And is open for discussion by the crypto community until the 5th of June, 2020. I like when they allow people to chime in with what they think, and they never take their suggestions. I think it's a very political thing. We want to hear from the public. Tell us what you think as to what they don't care about you. It's just about how much money they can make off of taxing all of these little transactions. And also the rule of their circulation is also going to be very fun as far as once countries really understand that they can't stop it, and telling other people that they can't do something with Bitcoin is not going to stop them either. According to one of the co-authors of the new draft bill, the main purpose of the initiative is to finally enable local crypto firms, like exchanges, to open up bank accounts. Wow, only been 3 years. Crazy. Michael Chobanian, the president of the Bitcoin Association Ukraine, an organization that co-authored the new bill along state authorities, good job, law firms and industry players, said the crypto exchanges are still unable to open up or set up a bank account in the Ukraine to date. As such, the proposed bill or drafted bill is designed to move the crypto industry out of the gray zone and finally bring legal presence to companies in Ukraine. You understand how garbage the banking system is when you can tell people, no, you can't open up a bank account? What's the point of a bank account if not to hold money in it? If you have a business, I should be able to put my money into said bank account because it is a bank account. So, it just, I mean, the irony is not lost on me that cryptocurrency exchanges and cryptocurrency companies need bank accounts when the original idea and design was for them to circumvent banks and kind of not have to deal with them at all. But lo and behold, this is how it kind of works. I mean, there's a lot more I could say on it. I'm just choosing not to because it's completely ridiculous in and of itself. That, I mean, whatever. Banks don't like poor people, and banks don't like anything that could potentially usurp them in any sort of way. Like, think of how afraid you have to be as a bank or a country to not allow cryptocurrency exchanges that have just opened to be able to open up a bank account. What would logically be stopping them or should stop them from doing it? The logical answer is nothing. But what amount of fear that a bank has to have to either shut down bank accounts, tell people no, or remember the halting of transactions in 2017 and 2018, for those of you who are not here. Many people around the world, it was not in one particular place, but especially in the States when people were trying to buy Bitcoin through Coinbase or other means, their accounts were shut down and or frozen. And the banks would contact them and say, why were you buying Bitcoin? Can you imagine your bank going, why we saw you bought bunch of hot dogs and oranges the other day. Can you tell us why you were? Oh, you wanted to eat them. Oh, okay. Well, when were you planning? It's just nonsense. This also doesn't really, as far as I know, happen during the purchase of gold and or silver. But I think a lot of those purchases also tend to happen in cash. Anyway, yeah, it's a very weird year. It's been a very weird decade for the cryptocurrency space in general. I hope that one day we look back on all of this and I don't know, I didn't want to say that we laugh, that we just, I don't know, we perform some type of cryptocurrency action. Because, yeah, how ridiculous is it that you can't open a bank account? Complete nonsense. And this is why I hope for a brighter future, and I hope that cryptocurrencies make it so that we don't have to deal with people not having access to a financial service that should be for everyone. Anyway, let's move on. Ethereum, just like many other cryptos, including Bitcoin, has been trading sideways for basically the past month, currently trading at 207. After a decent bull break yesterday, Ethereum eyes up to 217 again, a key resistance level before 220, and then yada yada. According to the latest report by Glassnode, the number of Ether holders with more than 100 Ethereum coins has now reached 47,222 people, which is a new all-time high. It's important to note that the number of holders with more than 100 Ethereum coins has been increasing since 2016 with barely any downside. There's a little chart right. The Ethereum's price was like, I think $2 at this point. Crazy. Clearly, the interest in the digital asset is strong despite its decline in price. In fact, from 2017 to 18, after the massive bull run that took Ethereum up to $1,400 US, The number of holders has tremendously increased from only around 17,000 to 45,000 in early 2019. There's another, once again, if you're following the trend, the positive Ethereum news is all over the place this week. But it also just kind of, I want to say logically makes sense. We had news before that the amount of addresses who were rapidly trying to acquire 32 Ether had been spiking as everyone wants to be their own staker. And I guess the 100 is kind of the round number that many people try to aim for. People tend to want an entire Bitcoin as opposed to 0.32 Bitcoin. Not saying or knocking the fact that you might have 32 million Satoshi, which is still incredible. It's just more of a people like that overall round number. Cool, wonderful, amazing, logical. Sounds about right to me. I assume this is only going to logically increase as we get closer to Ethereum 2.0. Still no actual, what's the word? Like release date for Ethereum 2.0. And when we do have that, I think that's going to also cause another huge surge, if not in prices. It will be for people who are trying to accumulate more in an effort to simply have more. Because once again, the words from Vitalik were that when everything goes off without a hitch, there will be a new burn mechanism that is initiated for Ethereum transactions. And a small amount of Ether will be burned during every transaction as the validator transaction fee kind of thing. And if the issuance rate is so low and the burn rate is just on par, Ethereum will either be a even out to a zero issuance per year, if not or become a deflationary currency such as Bitcoin, which also then would help to drive up the price. Yeah, that's the Ether news. And let us move on. And to finish things off, the world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, has announced the addition of options contracts for Ether and XRP. It has become the first exchange to add support for XRP options. Options are financial derivatives with leverage, which allow the buyer of the contracts to either buy or sell the underlying asset at a specified price on expiration. There's a little tweet right there. Until now, Deribit Exchange has been the leading platform for Ethereum options and also leading the space for Bitcoin options with over 75% of the market share. The average open interest in Ethereum options on Deribit since launch in May of last year is around 39 million US dollars. It is currently at an all-time high with respect to the number of Ether. Nevertheless, Binance aims to dominate this market as well. I would love a chart. You know what I would love? My friend sent me a photo yesterday. It was like a two-layered graph. I can't really explain it. It was like two circles. It was like a circle and like an outer circle. And the inner circle was Amazon. And it showed like on the outer circle showed all the other major companies around the world. And the inner circle showed exactly what Amazon had created to be able to like usurp or get past the other players in the game, i.e. like Amazon Prime and this owns about, you know what I'm talking about, as far as like the equivalent of it. I would love to see a chart like that for Binance simply because Binance seems to have their hand in every single cookie jar. I mean, logically, if you are the largest exchange, you want to stay on top. I assume the people from Binance are like, I think we're okay if we're like in 4th or 5th place. I assume they are making okay money, air quotes. They're probably doing very well for themselves right now, and they probably want to continue doing very well for themselves. But they have everything. So apparently Binance now has Ethereum and XRP options on their platform. I guess it also logically makes sense. There's a huge amount of interest, or rather, yeah. I would use the I word. Huge amount of interest where people are trying to get other XRP things added to other platforms, or I assume even behind the scenes, there's enough money flowing around where people are like, you have the first 2 coins, why not the first 3? Or rather the Tether, the first 4 coins, if you will. Yeah, that's the Binance options news. And yes, let us move on. As always, A very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Yasha Harari, Moonman High XRP, The Pothead, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Steuer, Chongololo Tsongololo, Nostromo, John Sarson, the Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Moher Moroni, I hope I said that correctly this time, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Crypto Artist Coldy 3D, Nicholas From Earth, One Piece, One Love, Damien Set, Suna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto. Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arf Medic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crea Le Michelle, URL, and hold on, I have to sneeze. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a supporter of the channel, who has clicked the little join button below. Thank you to everyone who is a subscriber of the new channel, and thank you to everyone for being who you are. At the moment, Bitcoin and the rest of the market looks like it's trying to go up. A lot of the other coins, when I started the video, this little was not here. I assume it's because Bitcoin has this little ascending line, if you kind of want to use that word. We'll see where this takes us. Bitcoin's trading volume has lowered. It was around 36 billion. I don't remember when, but I remember seeing a 36 relatively recently. Could we be trying to pass the $9,000 mark? Who knows? Who is capable of saying at this one time? The other coins are just as confused. They go up, and then when Bitcoin has a really interesting movement, they kind of are jagged all over the place. But it's just how things are. I believe that is going to do it for this video. I do hope that you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. I am off to the second channel. Thank you all once again, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.